Hi everyone, welcome to Legally Yours. I'm here again with the absolutely incredible Adrienne Trumbull from Hive Legal. And in this interview, I'm really excited because we're going to delve a little bit deeper into Adrienne's background and her journey through the law, and also, how she's ended up at Hive Legal and what Hive Legal is like to work in. So thank you so much for joining me, Adrienne.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's get into it. So what was your actual first motivator to become a lawyer? What sort of was guiding you there?
Yeah, I can't say I was a small child who had great ambitions of becoming a lawyer. I was not that person in high school. So, I really loved school, but I very much had ambitions of being a business person. Didn't really know what that would entail, but I really wanted to work in an office and wear corporate clothes and do all the fun things.
Yeah.
And so when I was in year 12, I was pretty much focused on being in marketing or HR. They were kind of the two courses I really wanted to do, which led to a commerce degree. And I was fortunate enough to finish strongly and be able to get in commerce law. And I thought, well, I'll do that degree because that'll give me a really good foundation. Who knows what I'll enjoy and what I won't, and then it'll give me choices.
Yeah.
So ended up studying commerce law, and of course really found that I loved the law side of it. So I was one of the people that met really like-minded people in university at law, but also found that I really loved and thrived in the subject. So very much went through university deciding that was going to be the new career path, and set on my way to kind of get as much exposure to real life legal practice as I could through university.
I love it. And then skip forward. So you finish your law degree and articles, which is what we did in our day.
Mm-hmm.
What from there? Where did you start your legal career?
Yeah, so I started my articles at King Lord Mallesons, which was called Mallesons Stephen Jacks at the time. And so I'd actually worked there before. So I did as many clerkships as I could possibly fit into my last 2 years of uni. But I also did work as a paralegal. So I was fortunate enough to work as a paralegal in the library with Mallesons.
Yeah.
And it gave me a good sense for kind of what the firm was about and what I wanted to do. And I decided pretty early I wanted to work in a commercial legal environment. But also to get a good range of experience behind me in a top tier environment was one that I really wanted to start at.
That's right. And so how long were you at Mallesons for? Did you stay there for?
It was a little over 11 years. So I actually stayed there. I did rotations in my first year, and again, really liked all the different areas. So that was tricky to decide kind of what lawyer I was going to be. But I decided to specialise in M&A.
Yep.
Really loved the team that I was working in, but I also really liked just the breadth of work you were getting there. So I liked the transactions, but I also liked the contracting, and there seemed to be a good mix. So stayed there, became a senior associate there. And I did a couple of good secondments during my time there. And then after my first child, I kind of, as a lot of people do, was weighing up whether that was the right environment for me long-term to have a legal career. And I decided to go in-house after that point.
Amazing. So now you're in-house and you're doing that from the other side, which must have been quite an interesting, like what was probably the biggest surprise, I guess, moving in-house, even because you've obviously done some secondments. Were there any surprises that kind of got you on that side of it?
Yeah, look, I think I went in-house for a number of reasons, most of all because I'd done these secondments, and I loved the thought of working with the commercial team directly and actually being part of the project from the ground up rather than kind of coming in with little bits of advice.
Yeah.
So I really love that side of it. I definitely found you are sold flexibility, I think, as an in-house lawyer that you don't get in top tier environments.
Yes.
But it's a different kind of flexibility, and it was still quite structured. So I went into an M&A and health services supporting role, which was a great role in terms of the work, but it was still very structured.
Yes.
Very much had to be in the office Monday to Friday during set hours. Yeah. So I think, it certainly was a more flexible option, but it didn't really allow a different way of practicing. So I did love the ways of working, but I did find, surprisingly, a lot of that structure was still there.
Amazing. And then obviously this is questions leading me on to Hive Legal, because Hive Legal sounds like it's almost the absolute perfect mix with what they do, the clients they work for, and also they are a flexible remote working structure, which they have been since the day they set up. So talk me through, that's sort of the main attractor to Hive Legal?
It was. So I stayed in-house for a couple of years. I had my second child, and then after that point I kind of went, that's not the best alternative for me either. I've got two really young children. My partner, husband, was working a very demanding job and traveling a lot.
Yes.
And I kind of sat back at that point and said, do I do something different? Do I go into a non-legal field? Because I don't see how this is really going to work with me doing my job and having the life that I want with the kids.
Yes.
And my husband. So at that point, I decided to set up my own practice and became a sole practitioner. Yeah. But specialising particularly in M&A and commercial, I pretty quickly found out that being a one-man band is hard work, because when it's on, you have to be on all the time and there's no one to kind of fill the gap. So I was doing that, but also contract roles. So I was doing stints in office for clients like secondments.
Yes.
And I also was doing bits and pieces for Hive. So I'd come across Hive through just some personal contacts. So I'd met through articles and things like that in the day, who'd gone on to be in Hive. And I did work with them on a casual basis. So the model very much allows for them to have a setup of permanent staff, but also take on contractors to kind of fill the gaps. And I was really enjoying the people that I worked with, but also the range of work that were still the clients that I was seeing from my private practice days, which was great.
Yes.
But it did really mean that I could come in and out and work hours that actually worked around my life as well. So I actually started doing more and more work with them, and then Hive actually asked me to come on permanently, which was great, except that at the same point, my husband had just been asked to take a role in Sydney. Okay. And I'd also just found out I was pregnant with our third child. Oh, so wow. I kind of said, thank you, that's amazing, but obviously, I won't be able to take it for these reasons. And at that point, Hive very much turned around and said, why would that be a problem? We can just go on mat leave, come back whenever you're ready, however long that is, do it from Sydney. So I think that in itself was a huge eye-opener for me in terms of the true flexible nature and also the long-term investment they have in the team.
Yes.
So very much that was the reason for kind of coming on board. But particularly, I think, as I've been there and as I've stayed, you really see that difference as an alternative for people to have a legal practice or practice, law for great clients and do great work, but in a way that's actually sustainable and enjoyable, which it's really hard to do with those traditional structures and really long hours and demands of you, which has been an absolute life changer for me.
It's just incredible, isn't it? Because I think it's, we talk a lot in law about this sort of whole life balance and being able to kind of have it all. But like you say, throughout your career, you've sort of realised that sometimes it can be difficult to achieve it. And the models like the Hive Legal model that, like you say, are so open and flexible and allow you that opportunity to be a great practitioner, deliver great legal services and have a wonderful, fulfilling home life as well, and those choices that you want. It's just incredible. And, for me, I'm incredibly proud that we're associated with Hive Legal. We love having you in our community, and we 100% think that Hive Legal are just, they've just got it right. They're one of those brilliant firms. So if this is resonating with you and you'd like to know more about Hive Legal, you can actually head to hivelegal.com.au, or if you'd like to actually have a chat, a complimentary virtual chat with Adrienne, you can also find her on our platform at legallyyours.com.au. Thank you for joining me, Adrienne. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for sharing your story.
Great. Thanks so much, Karen.
Thank you.